So basically, cancer is abnormal growth of cell. And basically, they lose the apoptosis, programmed cell death. They don't die, they become immortal. And your body's immune system usually take care of the abnormal cell in your body. We do all have about 10 to 100,000 abnormal cells every day. But our immune system's job is to get rid of those cells if your immune system is perfect. If you don't have virus that is already trying to fight, if you don't have too much chemical or other stuff going on in your body. Then they keep growing and growing, increasing in number, and then you get a tumor.
And so the tumor really is a result of a lot of years of things going wrong.
Suppression of immune system, exactly.
Cancer is the major breakdown in systemic communication. So what happens with the cancer, when the communication is running correctly and our lines of communication are open, then the body detects that growth on an early stage and suppresses it. However, when the lines are broken, that's when it happens that the body does not see the developing tissue until it is too late.
The present orthodox view is that cancer is a lump or a bump. That's the cancer. And if that's the assumption. Now, if that is true, then to get rid of cancer, all you have to do is get rid of the lump or the bump. And hence we have surgery. Well, that gets rid of the lump or the bump. Or we have chemotherapy, which poisons the lump or the bump. If we got rid of it. Or we have radiation, which burns it and got rid of it. And you undergo these three therapies, and if you get rid of the lump or the bump, the doctor will say, it looks like we got it all. But did they? No, the statistics show that in most cases it comes back. They didn't get it all because that was never the cancer in the first place.
What is a cancer cell and where does it come from?
Well, we used to think that any cell could become cancer, except for a few limited ones. We thought that if you irritate a cell enough and damage its DNA enough, it will become immortal and just keep growing. Now we find out, well, that's not true. Only stem cells seem to be the source of cancers. If you damage the DNA of the stem cell, it'll become immortal. And then it just keeps producing more and more cells. It wakes up and it's producing lots and lots, thousands, millions, billions of cells. And it becomes a cancer. The trouble with chemotherapy and conventional treatments is they have no effect on the cancer stem cell. They only kill the daughter cells, the cells that are produced by it. So the tumor will shrink and they'll claim success, but you haven't killed the stem cell, so it all just comes right back. And what they found is when it comes back infinitely more aggressive than it did before.
So stem cells are the key, and chemotherapy and radiation actually enrich stem cells. Despite this fact, as we've already learned, many doctors from countries across the globe might even lose their license if they do not prescribe chemo and radiation. Are you beginning to see the way that Big Pharma has its tentacles throughout this medical cartel, especially when it comes to chemotherapy?
There are many physicians who are truly authentically motivated to want to help people, but there is this pervasive fear that they are going to be discredited and ostracized in their own community, and when they start to embrace some of these alternative philosophies. So that's a strategy that's used to suppress this type of information. When you've got tens of billions of dollars of revenue, there is no limit to the clever and sophisticated techniques that you can acquire to manipulate the masses.
From the very onset, from the very planning of chemotherapy, from the very scientific approach, it is a deception. It is an unethical, deceptive business that creates illusions for millions of people, and every scientist involved in it. I'm not blaming the doctors. They sometimes don't have the education to go at that length. But every scientist knows that it is a huge fraud.
Yes, modern medicine is a business. And just like any business, the goal is to grow this business and also to eliminate competition and to maintain the monopoly.
Chemotherapy uses the most powerful toxins known to humans. And these toxins, of course, are being sold to us as substances that can kill cancer cells. And also the very substances that are being used to fight cancer are cancer-causing chemicals. So instead of eliminating cancer or curbing cancer, we are inducing, generating new cancers.
And you'll never have an oncologist ask, well, what caused this? And let's get rid of what caused it. You'll never hear that question. They only have one thing, and that is kill cancer cells. Well, what caused the cancer cells? Why did this occur in the body? Obviously, the immune system was suppressed, so are we going to unsuppress the immune system? Are we going to stimulate the immune system back into action? So there are many things to do other than just give a poison to the body to kill cancer cells.
It's a psychological warfare on humanity that the pharmaceutical industry is leading with the tool cancer. Keeping cancer as a death verdict is the platform, is a precondition for this entire investment industry to continue.
So very similar with the vaccines, we're seeing these forced chemotherapy incidents. They're linked, aren't they? It's
Yes.
an overarching government, tyrannical government, that comes in and says, you don't have any choice, we're going to tell you what's best.
But the so-called science-driven medicine is being forced upon you now in absolute violation of the American Medical Association's Code of Medical Ethics, which says that the patient must be given the choice, the patient must be informed. But parents are being told you must submit your children to these interventions, whether you like it or not.
What if someone was going to take your child from you? What if they were going to inject and expose your child to harmful toxins that could threaten their life? What if you knew the treatment they would force could take your child's life? What would you do? This was the heart-wrenching situation that Todd Jones faced when his 2-year-old daughter, Janae, was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
We said, okay, let's get her on the treatment. And the treatment it's an intensified treatment for 30 days where they use vincristine chemotherapy and steroids. And that little child just got loaded up with that stuff daily. We made a decision that we wanted to, since the cancer was so far down and in remission, as they say, and they told us themselves, that we were like, okay, you know what? Thank you for your business. We're good now. We're going to go ahead and build her up naturally now that the cancer and half of her, system has been, chemoed, chemically cleansed. We're going to go in and put in the natural good stuff now and see how we can get her to respond there. Well, the hospital didn't like that. When that happened, it wasn't 3 days later and there was that very, very, very loud, aggressive knock at our door. It was the Office of Child Services. And they came and they said, look, the hospital called, you have taken your child out of treatment, and you need to bring your child right back to treatment.
One emotion that's very detrimental to a cancer patient is fear. What emotion is it that an oncologist will elicit in the cancer patient when they look them in the eye and they say, you've got 3 months to live?
I was diagnosed with stage 2A breast cancer. I ended up doing chemo first, 6 rounds of chemo. Then after that, had surgery, a double mastectomy, and then radiation. So I had the full gamut of treatment. I just thought, this isn't working, and how can you feel so bad? And I thought, I just want to close my eyes, and I just don't want to wake up the next day and do this again. And I thought, this is not really a way of living. This is being poisoned, and I felt it and just didn't have the courage to stop it. At that point, that's where Ty Bollinger and Chris Wark and even Kelly Turner's book had just come out, and then that's when I stopped the chemo. I've watched all of Ty's documentary, the whole entire thing, several times, and a big thank you to each and every one of those doctors who participated, because they truly saved my life.
Eventually, medicine will come to terms, humanity will come to terms with the fact that healing comes from within. And that us, the doctors and the clinics and the medications, are the ones that facilitate that process of healing. So it doesn't belong to us. It belongs to you as a patient. And my true role as a practitioner is to empower and facilitate that healing within.
The only thing that we can do is to keep our self-healing mechanism strong. And in order to keep our self-healing mechanism strong, we have to keep our bodies clean. It all comes back to simplicity. No disease can exist inside of a clean body.
But how do we get our bodies clean? It's through detoxification.
And the most important step for the human body is daily, gentle detoxification. Your large intestine is the mother of all organs. It houses almost 60% of your immune system.
Step 1, we must cleanse our colon. Steps 2 and 3 are the kidneys and the liver.
Liver cleansing is probably one of the most effective ways of boosting your self-healing mechanism. Each liver cleanse is going to boost the liver production and efficiency by 10 to 15%.
So detox step number 4 is to clean the lymphatic system. And step number 5 is a parasite cleanse.
You have 2 kidneys, 1 liver, you have 100 lymph nodes.
Okay.
And if you don't clean out those lymph nodes, there's no way to then drain the tissues. So if we clean the colon, clean the kidneys, clean the liver, lymph nodes would be the last thing to focus on.
And then we would do a parasite cleanse as well after the first liver cleanse, because we knew that then the intestines would be ready to expel them, and then the liver would be able to deal with the toxins produced by the parasites once we start killing them off inside the body.
You have to clean up the body. If you don't detoxify the body, then there are too many things in the way for the body to function correctly, and most of these toxicities are causing a detrimental effect in the body, like increasing oxidative stress, etc., etc. generally speaking, a person that has cancer, they have a suppressed immune system. The immune system has been damaged and it's lower. So we want to repair that immune system. We want to get it back up. So the modulation of the immune system is key, because you cannot have cancer if you have an adequate and functioning immune system.
The only permanent cure to cancer is your immune system. And nutrition gives your immune system the firepower it needs to keep you well. So without nutrition, you're fighting with no weapons.
I always tell my patients to eat the rainbow, because every pigment in fruits and vegetables actually enters the nucleus of the cell and interacts with your genes, which is why it matters what you eat, right? So if you just eat the rainbow and half your plate is colorful fruits and vegetables, blueberries, spinach, kale, carrots, tomatoes, persimmons, pomegranates. If you eat color, you're going to also get these phytochemicals: oregano, thyme, ginger, turmeric. All of the culinary spices not only aid your digestion, but they also have these powerful chemicals. Carnosol is found in rosemary, for example, a very powerful anti-cancer chemical. So we can easily make our diets talk to our genes. Really easy. Anybody can do it.
If we're regular people, substance and energy of planet Earth, and the molecules are all from planet Earth and the energies are all from planet Earth. So, what's going to work best in your Chevy if it's broken? Chevy parts. If the body is broken, do we put in original body parts, which are original molecules and original energies? No! We take them and we twist them a little bit so we can patent them, and of course they don't fit quite right anymore if it's a molecule, or we use an energy that isn't natural to the body, and we expect the body to heal with that?
The big C word is never a death sentence. There's always a path. There's always a path. Some people are living with cancer as a chronic illness, right? So that's fine. It's the same as living with diabetes or high blood pressure or high cholesterol. If we can manage it and keep it at a microscopic level, you carry on with your life. It is not a death sentence.
For me, radiation was not an option. I started doing my own research, immediately went on a organic diet, just decided I'm going to start to cleanse, and I'm not going to follow doctor's orders. And that would be my advice to anyone who has prostate cancer, is if you're recommended to have a prostatectomy or radiation or a chemotherapy, I declined all of that, and I immediately started cleansing, detoxing, and pretty much cancer-free. I feel great. I've lost 25 pounds, and I came to San Diego basically to say thank you for for what you're doing, because it's amazing. I probably, had I not read your book and listened to the DVDs, probably would have followed doctor's orders.
There are answers, there are solutions, and there are roads to full recovery for all types and stages of cancer. With a full understanding of the treatments and preventions, with knowledge of the science and documented evidence that supports the validity of this path, an amazing opportunity exists to see lives restored.